So, both Ganyu and XIAO are getting released in the 2.4 update of Genshin Impact, and they both are made to be damage dealers, just through different ways. If you aren't in need of any damage dealer, then you probably don't even roll for them, especially if you don't have enough resources. But if you often struggle with some content due to lack of damage, then it's recommended to try XIAO or Ganyu in this upcoming rerun. So yeah, my dear Hilly trolls, in this video I will tell you guys that who should you pull for between XIAO and Ganyu. So this video is going to be very interesting, and before starting off this video, I want you guys to like this video and subscribe this channel. So now Bart, roll the intro.
あなたとの契約を守ります。
So starting with the obvious, both their playstyles are quite different from each other. Ganyu's main way of dealing damage is through her charge shots, which only takes around 2 seconds to charge, and it's spammable since it has no cooldown. On the other hand, XIAO's plunge attacks are also potentially fast and spammable, and XIAO's normal and charge attacks are also quite fast and more easily chained with his elemental skills. While Ganyu only has her charge shot, her elemental skills and burst can help with additional damage, but not as fast and reliable as XIAO. In terms of damage, if the data mined info is accurate, Ganyu's charge shot deals more damage than the one XIAO plunge, even with his elemental burst. However, XIAO's plunge attack spam is potentially faster than Ganyu, as well as being able to directly chain it with his elemental skills for an even faster DPS. Meanwhile, most of Ganyu's damage is focused on the charge attacks. Both can be fairly easy to use, especially since Ganyu charge shots have AoE to make it hard to miss, while XIAO is a standard melee character playstyle. The biggest difference between the two is their range. Ganyu can attack from a safe distance, while XIAO has to be melee. If you don't like or aren't very good with bows aim mode to attack reliably using Ganyu, then XIAO may be better choice for you. Ganyu's cryo element means she has access to cryo elemental reactions, including melt for increased damage. Applying a strong melt on an enemy means that you can increase the damage of both her charge attacks by 50%, which is pretty significant boost in damage, but requires a proper setup. On the other hand, XIAO can only do swell reactions, which is not that good on its own. However, being an anemo character means that he can use very decent Venrier artifact set for 40% elemental reduction to enemies, but only for the elements that not Geo or anemo. This means he won't be able to increase his own damage, but his teammates' damage. If I talk about both of their abilities, so first let's talk about Ganyu. So her normal attacks perform up to 6 consecutive shots with a bow. Her charge attacks perform a more precise aim shot with increased damage, while aiming an icy aura will accumulate on the arrowhead before the arrow is fired. Well, it has different effects based on how long the energy has been charged. Her plunging attack fires off a shower of arrows in midair before falling and striking the ground, dealing AoE damage upon impact. So if we talk about XIAO, his normal attack performs up to 6 consecutive spear strikes. His charge attacks consumes a certain amount of stamina to perform an upward thrust. His plunging attacks plunge from midair to strike the ground below, damaging opponents along the path and dealing AoE damage upon impact. So Ganyu is very well known, one of the best cryo DPS in the game of course, and by pulling to this banner will be great if you need a good mid-range combat cryo DPS. This banner is recommended also if you need support that spreads elemental reactions while functioning as a sub DPS in your team. And if I talk about XIAO, then XIAO is the only anemo full DPS focused character currently in the game, and he's great at what he does. Fully built XIAO can deal huge amount of damage in quick succession to multiple enemies using his burst. If you need an anemo carry, get him, but note that his supports are very limited. But who is a better DPS? So Ganyu can be a very good DPS that deals a good amount of damage towards the enemies in a long time. Ganyu can give continuous cryo AoE damage and also boost the elemental damage of the other cryo characters in the field. And if we talk about XIAO, so he has one of the highest damage potentials in the game due to the large attack buffs his burst gave him. Although he's an anemo user, he doesn't rely on swirl, but instead uses his raw anemo damage to shred through enemies while his burst is active. Although XIAO has a lower damage potential than Ganyu, but he is easier to play. He is straightforward, the options are not as varied, and there is little room for experiment. A healer and a shielder and he's done. His gameplay also don't require that much skill. It has a lot of damage, it breaks shields, it doesn't get interrupted that easily, you stagger foes, only 2 buttons would do the trick. You just charge your burst, then jump, then attack, then jump, then attack, and then jump. See, that's super easy. Ganyu on the other hand has a higher damage potential but requires more attention to to play. The combinations are more varied. Free comps, melt comps, cryo resonate with Sakura support. There are room for experimentation. Lastly, aiming requires more focus than button mashing on XIAO. You cannot just go and smash buttons and spam your attacks. You need to choose targets when you are surrounded by mobs. But at the end of the day, they both are really great characters, and it only depends on your gameplay style, cause one is a bow wielder and the other one is a polearm user. Both have absolute different gameplay styles, but in my opinion, Ganyu can be excellent in dealing long to mid-range damage with cryo elemental attacks, whereas XIAO can be crucial in dealing with massive bursts of melee damage. So yeah, if you want a lot of damage, then Ganyu will be a better choice, and if you want a fast pace plus good damage, then XIAO will be good. However, it only depends on your gameplay style. Well, to find out who is better for you, let's analyze which character our dearest Bard should pull for. By the way, Bard is the second owner of this channel. I don't like him though, he is a complete idiot. So yeah, Bard is a free-to-play player. So let's analyze his account. First, let's see what weapons does our Bard have. So he have hardword bow and a 5-star hardword polearm, but it's clear that the 5-star bow is better than a polearm. Well, looking at his current weapons, it looks like he should pull for Ganyu over XIAO. But hold on, if we look at his team comps, so he doesn't have any good 5-star anemo DPS character, although he has a cryo character, which is of course a 5-star DPS, which deals a huge chunk of damage. Yes, I'm talking about Eula. So he already have a 5-star cryo character with which he can do melt reactions and superconduct. So getting Ganyu will not benefit his reaction, cause he is already doing all this with his cryo character, which is Eula of course. So yeah, he can take an anemo character to try something new in his team and create more reactions. He can replace Eula with XIAO and choose XIAO over Ganyu, cause as I said, he lacks a good 5-star DPS anemo character. But it's only my opinion, and when I asked Bard, so he told me that he will pull for Ganyu cause he always liked bow over polearm, and he always wanted a bow wielding character, which is of course 5-star in his team. He also liked the gameplay style of Ganyu over XIAO, and he is comfortable with Ganyu. So yeah, at the end of the day, choose that character whom you like and you're comfortable with. So yeah, my dear Hillbilly Silly Souls, that who should you pull for between both of them? So if you guys like this video, then give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to this channel. So now take care, my dear Hillbilly Silly Souls.